I'm recording this because I went to go see Dark Phoenix from the Marvel Comics Universe Productions, and I have to say, I am happy that it will become a historical farce and a what if comic novel in the lines of them being very marvelly. We want to make America Marvel again. There's so many links to the authentic comic book references of this movie from Dark Phoenix, that everywhere from Marvel Girl debut, literally Jean Grey, to an alien race that comes to infiltrate the Earth's mutants and humans, known as, I want to believe, is the Brood. It was the cinematic interpretation of how one would create the Brood without it making it look like the aliens from Sigourney Weaver's Alien trilogies and other movies. But this one really does encapsulate the idea of Marvel Girl origin, aka Jean Grey, aka the Phoenix Force, aka how she's interacted with interstellar beings and taken them to a space beyond Earth, and nowhere in sight was Mystique, but she went by her slave name in reference all the time by Raven. So good thing they got rid of Jennifer Lawrence in the first 45 minutes of it, and the movie started when Eric Lyncher came along, played by Michael Fassbender, and the real Magneto and Professor X rivalry really began with creating a protege in Jean Grey. The love connection between Scott Summers and Jean Grey was admittedly felt in this movie. There are many times when Scott Summers missed cues to really solidify that love between Jean Grey and Scott Summers. Besides that, Jean Grey was torn and a vulnerable superhero that could have easily been really stopped by Nightcrawler's rage. Seriously. Not very many flaws, but just eluding errors. Errors in a way where it was made to make it look like Jean was a villain, but a victim, but Professor X being the villain, which was more of a protector in serious ways for all his family. It led a great storyline with the fact that Jean Grey really was protecting her family, her chosen family, and things really felt like a conclusion to a point where Professor X was, and still is, the most grandest super mutant on the planet. Dark Phoenix will live in cinematic history for one of being the not the most grandest, but the most easiest reference to the comic books original. And I can't wait to see spoofs. I can't wait to see other people's dialogue and reference of real sentences and like catchphrases that were made in like the first three X-Men trilogies, from like, you know what happens to anything that gets hit by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything that gets hit by lightning. And then Storm flashes her lightning and shocks like the shit out of like some random villain mutant. In this case, an alien, the Brood. I was the only one who felt like, this is an invasion of the Brood. This is the invasion of the Brood, right? If we don't remember what the Brood is, it's that those like insectoid race of like aliens that try to like conquer humans and conquer mutants, and they're just a parasitic entity that infects themselves in the morphine of humans. Hence why we got this villain of Jessica Chastain being the Queen Brood. I mean, if nobody saw that, I don't know what else they're like thinking it's gonna be. It's not Skrulls. It's not Kree. It's not an Avenger a branch. It's literally the Brood invading the interstellar atmosphere of Earth and the mutants. And Jean Grey just gets stuck in the middle of it. There was a time when there was an energy of the Phoenix being passed on from the Queen, played by Jessica Chastain, and Jean Grey. I don't know the actress. She was like a Cabbage Patch doll to me, without the curly red hair. Anyways, which felt like it was like a tie to like how really Rogue obtained her energy from Miss Marvel. Hence why we felt like there was an interlude to like Marvel Girl being introduced, and the ray that like the aura that surrounded Jean Grey as she was descending from like, I don't know, a bridge or some sort of building that was very Marvel like, and Marvel being the universe that we're in, she was and is Marvel Girl. Jean Grey is an alias of Marvel Girl. That's exactly what we were watching, was the interpretation of Jean Grey being Marvel Girl, an alias known as Dark Phoenix, an alien known as like the Phoenix, an alien known as what else is she known as? Like Phoenix, Marvel Girl, Jean Grey, Cyclops' girlfriend. Oh, really, it was uncanny. The Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, really will be literally like an X-Men historical like reference of how it closes a lot of like origins and opens up like more questions about like like Storm's leadership, Nightcrawler's rage. Nightcrawler's rage was really like someone so how do you say, when he's very like conservative and religious bound, he becomes obsessed to a point where he's annihilating teams and teams and teams of Brood race. And even though she was never Jessica Chastain was giving us vibes of like White Queen, giving us vibes of she was giving us vibes of Emma Frost, giving us vibes of a leader, of a motherly type figure. She was the queen of her race that was able to like literally tell the rest of her breed, the rest of her like minions, those shape-shifting parasitic alien race of the Brood, they were all under her spell of leadership. So that's what she represented, was a force that like was interstellar, a force that was intergalactical, that just led them to want to lead and the follow the Phoenix Force into Jean Grey's persona. The exchange between Jessica Chastain's character Queen and Jean Grey, Phoenix Force, that exchange represented a very rogue, absorbing her Miss Marvel power to a way where it was the memories and the strength and the type of seepage of energy into a one character out of another character showed us that like are we watching Rogue's origin right now as far as like being the most powerful Miss Marvel, Demise, Carol Danvers, Marie Exchange, Marie St. Clair, what's her name? Marie, whatever Rogue's name is, Marie. Aside from that, Jean Grey really did her best to become like a torn individual of like, you know, becoming a woman. She wasn't even like an adolescent anymore. She was becoming the force of what we know is X-women. And then again, there was a reference of like, what was her name? The one they used as Rebecca Romaine's stand-in. What was her name? I don't remember her name. The one that played Mystique. About a few years back, she took Rebecca Romaine's place, and then somehow she became like the Avenger of the X status, claiming that it's no longer X-Men, has to do with X-women, which is, I guess, but like, come on, you got like Beast, you got like freaking Nightcrawler, you got freaking like Quicksilver, still holding the fort down. You know, there was no Colossus or Thunderpath or freaking like Wolverine or some of the original X-Men Gold, X-Men Blue teams, Archangel. But instead you had like women forces, which was great, like a great representation of Storm, Aurora Monroe. Like she really was told to stay back in case something happens, you're the next leader. And she was told to be staying back by, you know, Xavier, the mentor of X-Men, to stay back. This is when we're gonna need you because some of us might not make it back. And so like she stayed back. She didn't stay back, but she was asked to stay back. You know, and then here comes Scott Summers trying to lead the team, saying, "We need you in our team." But see, like they were depicting the direction was depicting Charles Xavier as like the villain, but he really did know better. Like he knew better. That's why he like kept the team going. He was creating his family of like what needed to be represented in like this time of like of discrimination, this time of like how to be seen in a way of like, you know, this is what the depths of villains versus heroes are going to be about. And with like Magneto living on his like Genosha Island and own, you know, a claimed type of like land situated by, you know, government, or saying that, you know, this is where you guys stay. He really, Professor Xavier was really like the only superhuman mutant, most powerful mutant to like be able to like put a team together. And Jean Grey was just a product of an outside source to become like really a most powerful villain, a most powerful ally, a most powerful like entity that her rage got the best of her, and it's not fair that she was seen as like the victim that she needs to be let go of. let her exude her rage, because Professor X really did his best to like maintain that like entity to a point where he had to like just escape and estrange himself from the X-Men team so that they can recuperate and regroup and and but and so on and so forth. Enough said. Enough said. Um, those are my comments. Those are my reactions. Let's make America Marvel again. Bye.